Our Computex 2024 coverage is made possible by Asus, G-Skill, Fantex, Team Group, Lian Li, ASRock, Corsair, XPG, Thermaltake, Clev, Montech, and Seasonic. What is going on, guys? It is the last day of Computex 2024. I'm Stuart from TGF, and we are at the Team Group T-Force booth, and we'll be taking a look at their new memory, some Gen 5 SSDs, some all-in-one coolers, and some interesting USB external storage they have for video cameras. First off here, we will be taking a look at some Gen 5 SSDs from Team Group. So originally the guys had the Gen 5 Z540. That one was their first iteration, moving on to Gen 5, and that one maxed out about 12.4 or 12,400 megabytes a second. So we have some new ones over here. So their original version used the Phison controller. These three over here, they've moved over to an InnoGrit controller. So they have the GA, the GC, and the fastest one is the GE. So starting at the GA, that maxes out at about 10,000 megabytes for the read. The GC is 12,000, and then the GE is their top of line one, which is 14. So you can see the specs here, looking at a bit of about 14,000 megabytes for the read and about 12,800 for the write. So that's the max you will get there. Highest capacity is 8 terabytes, which is really good. So these things will absolutely fly. Now moving over to their cooling solutions. Now if you remember our Computex coverage we did last year, they had a bunch of different cooling options as well. So you have things like, this one here is their Red Dot award winner. It's just a standard heatsink with a fan on the side. And then we have a lot of different options. All the others I've been told are prototypes. We have a fin stack array here. We have another one there with a fan. Another similar one here with a fan. These two interesting ones here are magnetic. You can actually disconnect the fan, you can disconnect the heatsink, you can stack these on top like so, and you can just keep going. So I said to the guys, obviously, if you're stacking these together for extra cooling, I do believe it would need some type of thermal paste or thermal transfer in the middle, because obviously stacking metals isn't going to be that good at cooling efficiency, because you do need a bit of a transfer material in the middle, but that's just a prototype. Then this one here is their water-cooled options. Like this would look pretty insane in a motherboard sticking out, coming out, but in saying that, it's going to probably interfere with a lot of devices. So just one thing to keep in mind, and this is basically a little all-in-one cooler for your drive. And then lastly over here, I wanted to cover a USB Type-C, and this is USB 4, so with the latest AMD and Intel motherboards that have been announced here coming out, we should be seeing more USB 4 or that Thunderbolt as well, and these will do reads up to just under 4,000 megabytes for the read and about 3,500 for the write, which is insane coming from a USB device. Now, once again, things like prices are kind of hard for in the YouTube descriptions to put, because a lot of these are still unknown, but ETAs, when they're going to be launched, I'll try and throw them in case you guys are interested in any of these products. Over here we have T-Force's latest line of Xtreem memory. Now in our Computex coverage last year, so it's been a whole year for the full lineup to come out. So last year we just covered the black edition, and that's pretty much all they had. Now we have the full lineup. We have Fuji white, we have diamond rose, so basically we have white and a pink. They're just calling it those names to make it a little bit fancy. And then we have their RGB or ARGB edition in both the black and the white. So the speeds on all of these will do up to 8,200, except for some reason the pink, the diamond rose will do up to 7,600. So I don't know why, it does do a little bit lower for that. And then for the size, these all come in 48 gigabyte modules. So this is a 96 gig kit, 96, 96, and these would be a whopping 192 gigabytes for the 4. So that's pretty sweet that they are maxing it out, because a lot of these other memory companies we've seen aren't offering the 48s, they're only going up to the 24 for the modules. And then in terms of speed for these overclocking, you might want to see in an Intel platform and an AMD platform, they've overclocked an 8200 kit to looks like 9240, and then we have 9400 on the AMD side. So pretty sweet to see all that. For you guys, what's your thoughts on the pink, the white? I always love my white builds. It's always nice. And then the white as well being the RGB. And I've actually just been sent a set of the black RGB and then the non-black RGB, but I actually didn't know they had the white. I really love how the white aesthetic works. And I think Team Group have really nailed their RGB in their memory. I think a few years ago when they had their DDR4, they had the whole heatsink was that RGB glow, but with those ones, the heatsink was kind of blue and it kind of disrupted the RGB a bit, but I just like how it's only half of the memory top and it just is nice and cohesive cohesive. You can't see the individual LEDs. Like I'm looking around this, like it might come up on camera. I can't see any individual LEDs. It's nicely diffused and nicely vibrant. So a few things to cover here. We have 2 all-in-one coolers and then this memory fan that sits above, which is pretty funky. So if these are latest T-Force all-in-one coolers, there's 2 models here. There's a DP360 and then there's a GA360. So the DP is, they're both actually Acertec controllers under them. The one with the screen, which is the DP, that is a Gen 8, and then the other one, the GA, is a Gen 7 Acertec pump. But the main difference is with these, you can actually take the covers off. So say you purchase this and then in a few months' time, T-Force could come out with a different top. You're not actually forced to replace the whole all-in-one cooler. You can change the top like so, and this one here has a nice ARGB on top. And this ARGB on top is exactly the same as like on that Xtreem ARGB memory. It's nicely diffused, just like that, and that would go really well with that RGB memory. And then for the screen, unfortunately, I can't see anything else on this screen. There is a bit of a photo up there, but I'm assuming it's going to be things like CPU temp, GPU temp, and things like load and so on, and you can change that. Now moving over here, this thing, I'm not sure if it's really needed. We had these many, many years ago. God, I think the last time I saw something like this was about 15 years ago. This is just a fan for your memory. They've done it so you can hinge it up purely for swapping out your modules. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I don't swap my memory on a daily basis. So once I put it in, it's normally good. But I guess on a test bench for troubleshooting, you can just swing this up, take your memory out. Instead of having to unscrew this from your motherboard, it is good to go. And it can also turn, so you don't have to use it as a memory fan cooler. They did say it does turn. It doesn't really want to turn now, but it can turn to cool some of your CPU area, like your VRMs and so on. Computex 2024 has been all about AI, and of course, being here Team Group, they are embracing AI. Now, don't get confused that there's no AI built into these. This memory is not going to take over your PC, anything like that. Team Group are just saying that they have gear ready to go with any AI implementation you want to do. So whatever you're doing, programs or whatnot, they have gear ready to go. That might be designed a little bit more specifically for that than say something like their gaming hardware and things like that. So first off, this one here is your Cam 2 laptop memory. We saw that at the ASRock booth where they actually had the Cam 2 in the desktop form, whereas this one is for your laptop. This will be up to sizes of 64, and the speeds on this one I see is 56. And moving on to some of the other memory, I think one thing they were focusing on for AI was capacity. These will go up to 8 terabytes for their sizes, which is pretty good to see. And then for their memory over here, these will all go up to 192 gigabytes for a CUDA 4. So that makes them 48 gigabytes each. And then for speeds for those, we have up to, looks like 68 for most of these over here. And then I do see a 7200 in the T-Create. Now, I do like their T-Create range. It's a more subtle, it's, I'd say it's more a professional series. If you're doing something like a Pro Art build, you don't want anything too fancy, any gamery. This memory is a bit cheaper. You don't need those other aesthetics, and it just works well. Lastly here at the Team Group booth, I want to look at these T-Create. These are portable SSDs for your recording cameras. Now this is a T-Create CinemaPr P31 portable SSD, and this is the red dot winner. So that's probably more for the interesting cage that they come in. So I'll get some B-roll. I don't think anyone else has done something like this. So this will screw into a camera mount, something like small rig or something like that. You can see on all of these are mounted. And the advantage of something like this is you're not running things like flash storage, you're not using any SD cards for your camera. When you're finished with recording, you can just take it straight out and then plug it into your laptop. Even something to take this further, maybe like a magnetic system, so you don't have to always unscrew these. I've got my recording up the top. I've got my recording receiver on a magnetic plate, so you can just take that off with ease. Something like that would be pretty sweet for that. For sizes, you're looking from 1 terabyte, 2 terabyte to 4 terabyte. The 1 and 2 terabytes, the read and write are 1,000 megabytes, and for the 4 terabyte, you're looking at 2,000 megabytes for the read and write there. But in saying that, if you have a Sony camera or a Canon, don't be jumping out to grab something like this, because unfortunately those cameras cannot do external recording to USB. That's only done external recording through like a recorder that uses the HDMI to record. So the main use of these would be Blackmagic, and then there is one Panasonic camera that will support that. But in saying that, Team Group does do a lot of devices with their SD cards. They have their CF Express, and they also have CS CF Express Pro, which does something like a crazy 4,000 megabytes for the read and write. So they do have other options if you can't go with the external USB drive like this. Now that's it at the Team Group Computex 2024 booth. As you saw, we covered the memory, the SSDs, those all-in-one coolers, and I can't wait to test out some of that memory, especially those different colors. I don't do too many pink builds, but I'm sure there's something I can do to make that work well. But anyway, I want to thank you guys for watching. I want to thank Team Group for letting me check out all this gear, and we'll see you in the next one.